Hello and welcome to Off the Fence Live, coming to you after day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival, and we were blessed to have glorious sunshine this time around, none of that nasty weather from yesterday, some standout performances on the track and some low points too. Barry Geraghty joins me as always. Barry, how was your day?
Yeah, it was good. Great day's racing. Obviously a lot easier with the weather, but no, some drama. Galloping the Champ in particular, really unlucky to come down at the last. They rode him aggressively. He jumped, albeit he jumped big early on, but his jumping did improve and he got slicker. Paul was, he was thrown on the coal, if you like, and he was getting Bob Olinger under pressure. Had the race in the bag. Jumped the last perfectly, got a little bit high behind and just didn't get his landing gear out. It was a real novice fall, but I'd say he was feeling the pinch from the hard fractions he did through the race. He's a big raw horse and he just couldn't get the landing gear. Really unlucky. People would question, should Paul have sat and taken a pull? Should he have committed? What should he have done? If you're on the ground at the back, you were wrong on whatever you'd done. So you'd always have to trade the other way. If he went down and he took a pull and the horse stepped at it, as maybe say Champ did in the Dipper with me a couple of years ago, he's on the ground and he'd have done wrong as well. So I don't think Paul was at fault. It was just one of those things, a novice fault, very similar to my Drogo earlier in the season at Cheltenham when Rachel benefited from that as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Tony Keenan, that was probably the dramatic moment of the day in our first race, but thereafter things picked up. What was your highlight from day 3?
I think it'd have to be Flooring Porter. He's a horse I've doubted all season, but I'd be full of praise for both trainer and jockey with him. Obviously, the horse as well has lots of ability, but they need to keep a lid on him, preparing him. And Danny Mullins did an excellent job keeping the lid on him from the start through the race, slowed things up, and just a perfect ride from the front. And he's done that now twice in 2 years, so fair play to them. And as well as that, there were great coverage on TV of the connections of Flooring Porter. They seem to be knocking a great crack out of it. I'm sure there'll not be much sleep for those lads tonight. I hope they enjoy it. Beyond that, Allaho was his usual kind of professional self. He's been unbeaten this season. He's got the job done in all 3 starts. A little bit underwhelming in the sense that you'd love to see him compete against a really good horse, maybe on his final start this spring. He's been kept at these kind of specialist races, 2.5 miles. Maybe he's going to stay that route and go the Melling Chase at the entry, where possibly maybe Shishkin could meet up with him. Or is he going to go down and trip or up and trip at Punchestown? We'll soon see, but it would be nice to see someone else take him on that is of sort of commensurate ability. And from point of view of the handicap, I'm sure he's thrilled with the results. A lot more UK horses getting involved, particularly in the handicap chase. There's also a UK trained winner of the Pertemps, which is, look, I've kind of called that wrong, but it is just good for the game to see the sort of balance restored. And we're going into tomorrow. I'd say on the whole, UK trainers will have to be pretty happy with how they're doing. And again, Harry Frey and the legs got a real kick out of Love Envoy winning the Mayor's Novice too. That was good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. A good spread of different colours, different trainers, different jockeys in the winners' enclosure today. Let's move on to day 4 and try and find some more winners. A few winners would be good at this point, Barry. Starting off with the Triumph Hurdle. As we've discussed plenty on this show, it looks like a very competitive renewal. Vauban at the top of the market, Piper, Phil Dorr for the same owner. Where are you falling in this?
Yeah, so it looks really competitive, especially at the top end. Vauban has been really impressive. Likewise, Piper and Phil Dorr all season. Interesting that Davy Russell was a late jockey change in the declarations, where Davy switched from Piper to Phil Dorr when the ground was as soft as it was this morning. But it has dried and it will dry. Chatting with the lads this evening, they were calling it good to soft. It'll probably good to soft or just associated good tomorrow. So whether Davy regrets his decision would be interesting. But I've liked Phil Dorr all along. I think the race should be run at a stronger pace than it was in Leopardstown when he got beaten by Vauban. I don't think he was at his best, or I don't think he benefited from the steadiness of that pace. So a good true run race on obviously the new course, which is a real stiff test. I think Phil Dorr is good value against Piper and Vauban. It's a really classy race, and I don't think there's going to be much between the three of them.
Like it. I'm with Phil Dorr as well. Tony, which way are you falling in the Triumph?
Yeah, I'd have to disagree with both of you there. I just think the two at the top of the market are better horses than Phil Dorr on what we've seen so far. Two absolutely not top class, but top class with a view to going juvenile hurdling flat horses. You've a horse with triple figure rating in Vauban and what was paid paper rate in the mid-90s. And I think I'd have to stick with paid paper here again. He didn't do anything really on the clock at Cheltenham, but he put up with just an amazing visual performance. Basically went on the bridle the whole way. The race was over half a mile out. Armchair ride for David Russell on the day. And, sometimes horses like that, very visually impressive, to put in very short for the next start. He's not particularly short. I think 3-1 is an excellent price about him. Been on about him for a while, but I still think there's a bit of juice in his price. And also, I'd be keen to keep the Willie Mullins second string on side, Iletta Thompson. You'd rarely see a horse run to such a high level on a stable over hurdles as this horse did in the Spring Juvenile. The concern is that, as I mentioned before, is there a steadily run race, but he was the one disadvantaged by that steadily run race. He was dropped out the back. Early on in the race, when he made his challenge coming across the side of the track, he was caught wide. So all the disadvantages there, and his jumping got much better as the race went on. So I'd be keen on him also at double figures there. If there's any improvement in him, he can get involved in the shake-up for the places.
One for the places and one for the win as well. Let's move on to the county hurdle, Barry. The two Irish horses at the top of the betting currently, State Man and Colonel Mustard, and then West Court, one for Dan Skelton. He'd be desperate for this to go in at this point, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be. I like to move it.
Oh.
Second in the Betfair, slowly run race. I think he wanted better pace. He has course form. I think good ground, reasonably good ground, and a true run race. I think he would benefit from that. I thought he ran really well in the Betfair for a horse who would have enjoyed a better pace. So I like him. Colonel Mustard, as Tony would have mentioned, I'm sure he will again. Definitely with a chance. And Broomfield Burg maybe at a bigger price. Likewise dropped in the Betfair. Struggled to come in from off the pace on a slowly run race. John Joe Jr. rides him. I think he could be one with a chance at a price.
Okay, few thrown in there from Barry. I'm all in on West Cork in this, but my confidence in him is waning at this point. Tony, are you, as Barry says, still with Colonel Mustard?
Yeah, absolutely. The form got a lovely boost there in the Ballymore on Wednesday with the two horses that beat him, finishing 1-2 there. Look, Three Stripe Life has to have run to sort of around the 150 mark. I believe Colonel must have nicely in here in 140s and same mark in the UK as he is in Ireland. Looks like this sort of race would suit him, kind of strong travelling sort, should be held up and come from behind. I would agree with Barry on Nigel Twiston Davis's horse. I like the move. I think he's the pick of the English crew. Very good run in the Betfair. That form looks to stand up really well in the champion hurdle with Glory and Fortune running fifth, and I think he was off a break there as well, so should be a little bit of improvement there for fitness. I think he'll be in the shake-up. And there's one there also at a mad price at the moment, Dicer Diamond, Willie Mullins' horse. She won a really strong race down in the Stowell last September, form worked out, pretty fast time. And then overall, she can be quite inconsistent, but she did back it up in a mare's race at Punchestown. She beat Ryle and Western Victory. And she's had 2 runs since that, but I'd be prepared to forgive both of those. They were both over 2.5 miles. She never really stayed that far, and both on soft ground. I think getting back tomorrow to the minimum trip, as Barry says, I think the ground is going to dry out. The heavy, the soft is all sort of going to be gone. I'd say it'll be 10:02 tomorrow. And she's a hold-up type that should suit the run of the race. I think it's 50, 66 is floating out about her. And I'll be definitely taking a chance on her also.
Okay, a few cases made in the county hurdle. Let's move on to the Albert Bartlett, Tony. Ginto is currently roughly, it's co-favourites Ginto and Hillcrest as we speak right now. And then bigger prices, slightly the rest in this novices hurdle race. Please don't burst my Hillcrest bubble.
No, he looks a very good horse, and I'd say overcame a lot the last day. Very fast time and did it all in the wrong part of the track. Definitely worth his place at the top end of the market. I think a race like this shows the value of a guess. And to be honest with you, I've just been trying to guess something in this race. Don't ask me what it'll be, but it will be something at a price. It'll be the smallest bet I'll have all day tomorrow, bar the Foxhunters. It wouldn't be a race that I could have a strong opinion in. It does tend to throw up results. But yeah, I can't put you off Hillcrest at all. Sure, look, he does look at the best form. The problem is sometimes in this race, the horse with the best form or the best long-term prospect doesn't always win.
Yeah, picking up on Tony's point there, we've seen some surprises in this. It's always said that it can be a war of attrition for these novices, but we've had classy horses out of it too, of course. Hillcrest could be the classiest of the lot in this, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. I like him a lot, and I am Maximus ran well yesterday in the Ballymore, so he's franked his form. He was second to Hillcrest early in the season. But no, he's good form. I was impressed with Haydock. He's the one you'd want to be on, but I would agree with Tony. You know, there's plenty of dark ones in there, unexposed or so. They're potential improvers over this trip, because it can be a war.
Okay, weak enough views then on the Albert Bartlett, I think is fair to say. But then on to the big one, the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and this is a wide open affair. We've got Galvin in there, Plutar, Vanessa Indo, you know, all the rest in behind. We've spoken about these horses all season, Barry. Which way are you siding at this point now? You have to decide.
Well, I've been with Minolendo.
Yeah.
I think all the way through, so I'm slow to desert him, but I do think the drying ground is going to suit Galvin. I would have respect for Protector Rat as being one who's maybe under the radar a little bit. We haven't seen the best of him. I thought he ran really well in Aintree, but no, I'd stick with course form. I think Manila Indo was rock solid, but Galvin on the ground, I think, has a squeak.
And you've given a squeak to Tornado Flower in the past as well. Any chance for him?
I haven't. I think that was more Tony than me, was it?
Tony? Tony, you've given us a squeak to Tornado Flower in the past.
Yeah, I was giving him a little chance last week. It wouldn't be a strong opinion, this race, for me. Like Barry, I think Galvin should run his race, should be involved. I thought he showed surprising gears at Leopardstown at Christmas to get himself out of a little bit of bother. We all know he's proven at the track. We know he'll stay, should be thereabouts. I would throw Tornado Flyer into the mix as well. We know that his Kempton win came in quite flattering circumstances. The leaders went too hard and sort of left them at it to come home down the outer quite late. But that was only his second run at 3 miles, and he shipped there like 3 miles too, just maybe right up his street. He's had 3 runs at the festival before, and every single one of them he's been coming home late. So I just think the unexposed horse stepping up and trip, provided Danny Mullins can get him into a rhythm early on. Sometimes he can be sticky over the first 3 or 4 fences, but Danny's obviously riding very well. A totally different ride to Florian Porter. He needs to be dropped out, but it's not a massive field. And I know there was some discussion about there wouldn't be an awful lot of pace in it, so we should have that little bit of time earlier on to get him into a rhythm.
Okay, views on the Gold Cup done and dusted. Tony, just very briefly with you in the Foxhunters, it sounds like you don't have a strong opinion in this at the moment.
No, not at all. I couldn't even tell you what's running in it.
Excellent. Well, Barry, Billway's at the top of the market.
He's been beaten by both Bob and Co at Punchestown last season.
Paddy's great moment, getting outridden in the finish by David Maxwell.
Yeah, David Maxwell, you know, top marks, so he is the true amateur, and it would be brilliant to see him win. So I think he has a good chance. Also, Winged Leader beat Billway in Thurles last time as well. So I'd put those two against the favourite. The favourite's been here twice before and has been beaten both times. Yeah,
that's very true. Let's move on to the Mare's Chase. I think we'll go to you, Tony, for this. Mount Ida at the top there. Ellie May again in there. Constatista shows up in this. It's another cracker of a race. I love this race and everyone crabbed it, but I love it.
Yeah, I know there were only 14 initial entries for this race, whatever it was, a fortnight or 3 weeks ago. But I think your main 3 mares have turned up into it on the day. And with those 3, it's an interesting race. You have the 2 that have quite a high level of experience in Ellie May and Mount Ida, and Concertista, who was by far the pick of them, I suppose, over hurdles, but hasn't got the experience. But the one I like is the Jigginstown horse at a bigger price there, Scarlet and Dove. I thought of Fairy House behind the front 2 in the market. She did too much in the lead early on. She also got a very significant piece of hampering from Mount Ida jumping the second last. She jumped broadside her completely, and she looks like a mare that would be quite good going left-handed. She does adjust that, whereas that is a worry with Mount Ida, given her performance in the Kim Muir last year. Now, Gordon Elliott has said that he's sorted that part of it out. We'll see how that plays out over quite a short trip tomorrow. Ellie May, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Her jumping is a worry, but she'll find out any fraidies in them. But I'd be happy with Scarlet and Dove each way.
Nice each way chance from Tony there. Who are you starting with in the Mare's Chase?
I really like Concertista. Yeah, really, she's unexposed and progressive. She's the size, she's the scope. She's only had 2 runs over fences. She does lack for experience. but she's great course form. She's won here before. She's run well here before, and probably unlucky last season not to win. So no, I'm sweet on her. I think what she loses in experience, she gains in potential.
Nice class act in the race. Let's stick with you, Barry, for the conditional jockeys rattling around here in the Martin Pipe. Langer Dan, another one for Dan Skelton. Big day for him tomorrow with a couple of handicappers actually. But it's a wide open affair.
It is, as it always is.
Yeah.
But Langer Dan went up £5 for being second to Galloping the Champ last year. The handicapper dropped him 3 for his run in Taunton when he was beaten 10 lengths on his reappearance. Hard to go away from that.
Yeah.
And with the way the English handicappers are going, I thought another horse whose form has worked out well is IA Connect. He beat Surprise Package a short head in Huncheston back in November and was put away for this. So he could be interesting there. But Langer Dan, the way the English are doing the handicaps, he could be well positioned.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you concur with those views, Tony?
Yeah, Langer Dan's been given a chance to drop the £3 or what was it from Taunton. I didn't think he showed an awful lot of life there all the same. I know he didn't get a hard time. Wouldn't be rushing to take a short price about him. I actually really like the horse here at a bit of a price. I think the usual way into this race is to look for the Irish horse, the novice that is maybe going to make up into a graded novice that hasn't really been given the chance yet. But I didn't think the ones that fit that profile this year were the most likeable. I thought adamantly chosen. His jumping is a bit of a worry. He got a soft lead at Taurus. I know he did a good time, but jumping was pretty erratic. I think he's quite green as well. Don't know how he'll cope with this type of race. The Goffer, again, Taurus probably didn't really achieve an awful lot. So the one I liked at a big price is one from last season's novices, Henry de Bromhead's horse, Decimation. He did a lot of racing at 2 miles. He started off as a novice horse last year. Don't know that really suited him. Now, he did get his win over 2 miles up and down Ryle. Beat a reasonable horse to the Shark Hanlon's Hollowed Star, who went on to raise the ranks and handicaps after that. But his first start over 2.5 miles was a Fairyhouse Easter meeting last year where he ran Ashdale Bob to a neck. Ashdale Bob, to me, shaped like the best horse in the Coral Cup off 153 on Wednesday. This horse is in off 140. He ran a Punchestown after that. It was a little bit underwhelming, but the Bromhead horses weren't going great at the time. And he had some decent horses in around him there. He had Faster Slow, who obviously was second in the Coral Cup. He had Winter Fog. He had Panda Boy, who's all won or run well in good races this season. The Decimation was off. I presume the intention was to go chasing, but they didn't succeed in that, some sort of a problem. But he ran at Fairyhouse there about 3 weeks ago in a 2.5 mile handicap hurdle. Steadily run race. He kind of travelled away well, made a mistake at the fourth last, wasn't given a hard time, just showed a flash. And they also had this young O'Connor jockey on him, I presume with a view to riding him again tomorrow. This has been a bit of a plan. Looks an ideal kind of race for him. And yeah, he's kind of 16 or 20 to 1. Definitely see him running a good race. I'd also throw 2 other kind of, again, wild ones into the mix there that ran in the Liffey hurdle at the Dublin Racing Festival. He's a hardy bloke and Lucky Max. That was a kind of race that seemed to get divided quite early. You know, with Leopardstown, the big fields, horses can get caught out. Really dropped out. It's very, very difficult to come from off the pace there. Both of those made kind of good late headway. He's a hardy bloke, was having its first run, I think, since the previous Galway. His jumping it wouldn't be great, but I think stepping up from 2 to 2.5 would be a help. And Lucky Max there, his jockey made up his ground quite smoothly, leaving the back. He switched inside and got bothered. Then he came back out to the outer and kind of ran on well late. Again, both of those are kind of big enough prices. I could see them running the race. I do think it's a race that could throw up a bit of a result because the front end of it might be a little bit more vulnerable than it appears at first glance.
Plenty of angles into the lucky last from Tony. And we'll stick with Tony for best bet, please. Best bet of the whole day, please.
Yeah, just at the prices they are at the minute, I'll go with Decimation in the Martin Pipe.
Okay. Can you match that, Barry?
Probably not. No, I'll go with Concertista in the mares.
Very fond of her. Great. Okay, well that about wraps up the final show from Off the Fence Live. We've been here in Cheltenham City Centre, town centre, all week, and it's been a complete joy to do the show upside Barry Geraghty and Tony Keenan. But for now, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon.